So what I'll try to do this class is I'll just give you a recap of whatever we have discussed last class, and then we'll start a new molecule also. Okay, the lipids. We discussed about carbohydrates last class, and we know these are the various forms of carbohydrates we use in our daily life. And these are polymers here we see, and these are dimers, and this is a monomer of when all these are polymers. Remember that. And this is also a polymer. Okay, it's a glue. So what do we learned here? Actually, carbohydrates are ketones or aldehydes of actually majorly alcohol containing carbon chains. Okay, majorly they are ethanes. That means they do not have double bonds anywhere in between. So you can have 3 carbon atom carbohydrate, you can have 5 carbon atom carbohydrate. There are 4 carbon atom carbohydrates also. 6, 7 carbon atom carbohydrates are also there. We were not discussing that. The most popular one you always know is the glucose. Okay, this is a glucose, 6 carbon atom. We just saw that. With subtle change in the OH and H group from right side to left side, you can change the kind of carbohydrate it is. So the molecule changes, and often if it happens in the middle, the molecule itself change. If it happens somewhere near the tail, away from the carbonyl group, then molecule stays the same, but it becomes a different enantiomer. Okay, we know isomers. These can be isomers, although they are different molecule. Now, if you have this OHH shifting from this to that side, happens here or here, it can be called as enantiomer. Enantiomers are optically active, molecules. What does that mean? Optically active? Do they produce light? Nothing. They don't produce light. But when you shine a polarized light, okay, plain polarized light onto a solution of glucose, it will turn the light towards right side, and the degree it will turn, that is it's optical rotation. We call that optical rotation. These molecules are causing. So often it can turn towards right side, even clockwise it will turn the light. Often it can turn the light anti-clockwise. Okay, plane polarized light, it is turning. The plane of polarization turning to that angle. Fructose can turn the plane polarized light to left side. So that is how it is. But you see here, there is why we see subtle change in this can cause differences, because we understood that the carbohydrate, single monomer of a carbohydrate, which can be a 6-membered carbon atom, carbon chain. Majorly they are alcohols, OL, OL, OL in almost all carbon atoms. They normally prefer to stay in a ring shape. Okay, that is how it normally stays. So the upper side of a ring and lower side of a ring now are significantly different. If it is a ring shape, okay, it's kind of a plate. So things upside the plate and things downside the plate can cause big differences. Okay, we call that steric, even what do you say, steric hindrance, or the problem caused by the shape of a molecule. Okay, so carbohydrates are linear. We can see it linear, but preferably they stay in a ring format. Although you do not, looks like a benzene ring, but it's not a benzene ring. There is an oxygen in between. You can see. And here you can really what do you say? Yes, oxygen in between here is the oxygen. Now here you can very much see that how the monomers of carbohydrates make multimers. First, they can make dimers. Glucose and glucose join through a glycosidic linkage, an ether sort of linkage between two monomers of carbohydrates are normally called glycosidic linkages. Actually, all carbohydrates, when they form polymers, they use glycosidic linkage. If you remember, what are the linkages used for proteins? Remember? These
peptide linkage.
Peptide linkages, yes, correct. So in peptide linkage, we have a carbonyl atom, then we have another carbon. It is linked to a nitrogen atom, right? That's how. So that is a peptide link. Here it is a glycosidic link. It's kind of an ether link. And in case of sucrose, our most favorite carbohydrate, in marshmallow and many sweeteners, we have sugar is the best one. The sweeter component of sugar is actually fructose. You have tasted glucose also. It isn't so sweet, you know that. But the sweetness comes from the fructose part of the sugar. And how does this happen? Here also a glycoside linkage. And fructose, as it is a ketone, it forms a 5-membered ring. It doesn't form a 6-membered ring. It forms a... So that means ketose, hexose are, meaning those who are ketone-based carbohydrates are called ketose. They can be they can have a 5-membered ring. So 5-membered rings, you do not have to remember this. I'm just saying that there is a specific name for this 5-membered 6 carbon atoms ring. Here you have 2 carbon atoms dangling outside the ring. In case of a 6-membered ring, 1 carbon atom dangles out of the ring. You can see that. The 6th carbon. Here, carbon 1 and carbon 6 both dangles out of the link. This is carbon 1, this is carbon 6. So the 5-membered rings are called furan, F-U-R-A-N, furan rings, and these are called pyrene rings, P-Y-R-N. Nothing to link with pyrates. Okay, remember that. So we call pyranoses and furanoses. OSCs are normally attached to any sugar kind of molecules. Okay. So now we just saw that these are dimers or disaccharide, we can say. Single molecule monosaccharide. Succar comes from sugar actually. Okay. Saccharide. That's what it comes from sugar. In some language, in Latin or Greek, they meant saccharine meaning sugar. Okay. And the reaction which brings this glycoside bond is a condensation or dehydration reaction where a water molecule is released. So here we can see we can have a monosaccharide, disaccharide, then oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. So number of these pyranose rings or furanose rings attached that will make the polysaccharide finally. What are the most popular polysaccharides we know? Disaccharide, we know, we drink milk, we have lactose there. Maltose is there in when we get starch digested or hydrolytically broken, and we get maltose from there. Okay, sucrose we get in cane sugar. And here you see polysaccharides, oligosaccharides we don't use so much, I think, but plants use them. They are a lot of, they have this intermediate molecules. And polysaccharides, starch, we eat starch, we starch our cotton clothes, glycogen and cellulose. Cellulose is cottons, we all know, right? So, okay. Now we come to the string polysaccharides. You see, cell walls are made up of small pieces of these monosaccharides. You can see that. This is cellulose. And similarly, in animals also, what is the largest number of animals you can see are insects actually, and they have their exoskeleton made up of chitin, and that's a carbohydrate though. Okay. Chitin has their monomer containing nitrogen. Here in cellulose, we do not see nitrogen in their monomer or monosaccharides. Okay. So and we have starch and glycogen. These are forms of polysaccharides. They are not structural they do not have a structural role. Rather, they have a food value. Okay, so your body stores sugar in form of glycogen, and plant stores sugar in form of starch. And this is a school, knowledge. You must know that. And if you are vegetarian, you take starch. Your body is more used to take starch and process and get sugar, get glucose. And if you're non-vegetarian, you take glycogen from muscles and liver of animals, cooked, of course. And from that you get sugar, okay, glycogen. So now there is one particular issue I just discussed, that we cannot digest, cellulose. A cow can, because there is a specific kind of linkage here. This is alpha and this is beta. These are actually, it's kind of the both forms are in equilibrium. What is the difference here? The carbon 1 OH group is below, carbon 2 OH group is, carbon 1 OH group is above in case of the beta form of glucose. And that means when you take glucose, you will always find that both of them, both of the forms are present. Okay, but while making cellulose, while making starch, these forms are preferred. Okay, and while making cellulose, when joining multiple monomers of glucose, these forms are preferred, and that's how it is a beta linkage. So this ether group is below, oxygen is below. You can see here. Here the ether group is above. So we can say alpha 1,4 linkage in case of starch, and in case of cellulose, it is again 1,4 linkage, but it is beta 1,4 linkage. Okay, remember that. And you can see that one carbon atom is what do you say? The monomer is flipped. Here the CO 6th carbon atom is above. This is a normal way. Here the second monomer is flipped. Same happens. This is the sequence. So we do not have enzymes which can digest this beta 1,4 linkages. That's why we cannot digest cellulose. We have enzymes called amylase, okay, which can digest starch, can get glucose out of starch. Okay, so that means depending on the kind of linkages, just twist and tip. You can change the kind of sugar it is, or the kind of polysaccharide it is. They have a lot of roles to do in our body. We just discussed that. Majorly, they have a lot of hydroxyl groups, and if you really define them, the strongest group they have are the aldehyde or ketone group they will have. And that's how we define carbohydrates, and often they are called sugars. This is a nutshell. You can read it once I share this slide. What are the major roles of carbohydrates? We just saw here. See, when we eat glucose after a sports run, glucose can give us a lot of energy. You find it recharged. You eat some banana or eat glucose, you find yourself recharged, because your body actually that time after a sprint, your body lacks glucose at that moment, and once you get more glucose directly, then this glucose directly get absorbed from your stomach to your blood, and that reaches your brain, and your brain feels good. Now, what does your brain do with the glucose? Glucose is processed through multiple pathways to get ATP. Remember this. This is the final compound which we use. We will understand it through the metabolic pathway. So glucose is a very easiest source to get ATP. I don't say you get maximum number of ATP from glucose. Maximum number of ATP you can get from fat molecules, but it can be processed. Glucose can be processed very fast. There are very defined systems for getting ATP out of glucose molecules. Just so of course, carbohydrate is main source of energy and main source of ATP we have. It is a main storage molecule for energy. Okay, you can make store it in the form of starch or glycogen in your muscles. They give structural supports, protections in case of plants and microbes. You know, microbes, their cell walls. What do we have? Peptidoglycans or lipopolysaccharides. Okay, so what do you mean by lipopolysaccharide? So lipid and polysaccharide. Okay, peptidoglycan meaning peptides and glycan meaning protein plus polymer of carbohydrates, that is polysaccharides. Okay. Often these carbohydrates, we saw this change, no, they are branched. Often these chains are branched, and that's very, very specific. Your body and my body, why it is so different? If you need a liver and I need to donate you a piece of liver from my body, will your body take it? No, your body will reject it, because your body, all the cells, maybe we have very similar genetic makeup, but all of your cells are decorated in such a fashion with carbohydrates, the way you have lived, the way you, so that's not very much genetically programmed. You can remember that. So that decorations are different from that of the cells decorated in my body. So that actually can change a lot. Your immune systems can give an alarm for that, and that's how my liver can be rejected in your body, because your body finds it as a enemy. The blood groups and all, they are actually due to presence of these carbohydrates. Okay, antigen is a protein, of course, plus they have a carbohydrate on that. So we have a lot of, and of course the RNA and DNA, the main framework of this molecules are made by carbohydrate. There are pentose sugars, we just discussed that, right? So carbohydrates have a lot of things to do. Next comes to the new next molecule called lipids. What are lipids? You know, see this butter. It's a butter naan. You know, you must be missing going out for lunch frequently because of this COVID and all. I hope you have all finished your lunch. So you see, this is lipids are actually oil. You just have to understand that, meaning it doesn't mix with water. Okay, so in rich food we have a lot of lipids here. Also we have small lipids inside the grains also, or on the flour itself, but the quantity is very less. But what happens if you take a lot of these parathas? You may have to undergo this lipid profile test. And what are these lipids? You will do that. Cholesterol is a lipid, triglyceride is a lipid, HDL is a lipid, high density lipids. Okay, very low density lipids, LDL, low density lipids. Okay, this is a report for some fortunate, unfortunate person. He has a cholesterol very high level and LDL still in control. LDLs are called bad lipids. Okay, remember. So these are the things you see in your body. Okay. So is lipids always cause? Does lipid always cause problems? That we are going to find today. So if you go, I'll come to the summary slide later. Let's see what is a lipid. Okay, we can say, yeah, fat is a lipid. Yes, fat is a lipid. And what is fat exactly? In organic chemistry, you must have learned about fatty acids, right? Any alkane ends with a carbonyl group or carboxy group, carboxylic group. then we can call it as a fatty acid. Okay, and how many carbon atoms are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We can say 15 carbon atom plus a carboxylic acid. Okay, so it's palmitic acid. Okay, 16 carbon atom total, or 15 carbon atom plus. So palmitic acid, oleic acids, these are oleic acids are present in your coconut oil. You know, these are called fatty acids. You know, in local terms, we can call them fatty acids. When these fatty acids combine themselves with a glycerol, that's another 3 OH group containing carbon atom, 3-OL. Okay, 1, 2, 3 propane triol. You can write it like this, right? In IPSC format. So if it combines, and again a dehydration reaction occurs, and what do you call this kind of a compound? There is a carbonyl group and there is a ether sort of linkage, carbon-carbon linked via an oxygen in between. We can call it as ester linkage, right? Remember that in your organic chemistry? So two compounds join together, a fatty acid chain and a glycerol joins with them. So when we through an ester linkage, and this final compound you can call it technically as a fat. Okay. Now, if 3 fatty acids join, we can call this a triglycerides or triacyl glycerol. We just saw that, right? Triglyceride in that blood report, lipid profile report. These are this. Okay. So 3 linkages. When you see this, so if you have triglycerides there, you will have triglycerides in your blood. These are again hydrophobic in nature. Okay, so still not so much use, but they are used for many building blocks of our body material or cellular materials. Okay, so we learned that this is, but we have also learned in our school there are certain kind of saturated fatty acids, unsaturated fats. What are these? So let's see what are fats and unsaturated fats. We just learned that it's a glycerol combined to a fatty acid fat. Okay. What is saturated fatty acids? You do not have any double bonds here in between in the fatty acid chain. And if you try to make a space filled model, this is kind of a space filled model. Here you do not use stick as a spacer here. Okay, you can use this multi adapters, which is almost zero length multi adapters. You can make this also. You can get models, model building kits. Can make a space filled model. So in proteins and expressing macromolecules, we normally use a space filled model to show overall dimension of the molecule. So this is a line drawn model and this is a space filled model. You can make it in 3D also. Okay. So this is stearic acid. This type of carbon fat is called stearic acid, of course. Now, what is unsaturated fat? Unsaturated fat, you see that one carbon atom is there must be one at least double bond here. There can be multiple also. Oleic acid, which you get it from coconut oil, normally has this double bond, one double bond inside. That's an unsaturated fat. Okay. So olive oil and majorly the oils we get, they are actually unsaturated fats. How to get them making saturated? Yeah, there is a process called hydrogenation, we all know, and that's how they make vegetable oils, vanaspati. With hydrogenation, they quench these carbon atoms with additional hydrogen, and they can make it a straight carbon chain. Okay. Now you see here, in our body, which normal fats are actually butter, the things present in milk and all, they are saturated. But in membranes and all, we have some unsaturated fatty acids also. See here. So this is about fats. This is unsaturated fat. A fatty acid containing a double bond, if it is attached to a glycerol here, we can call it as an unsaturated fat. Now, is this unsaturated fat always bad? Sometimes bad, but some unsaturated fats are very, very essential. If the double bond appears somewhere in the third carbon atom, we can call it as omega-3 fatty acids. Okay, we get it from and this is actually very much essential for child growth, your brain growth, repair of your brain. You get it from fish and some nuts also. Okay, so so that means some unsaturated fatty acids are good, fats are good, we can say. Okay, now what about the membrane, how the cells are made of? Where do you see this lipids? We just saw the lipids which present in the membrane of the cells. This is the diagram. It is going on in the slides all along. Now I got a chance to talk about it. See, these are the two molecules. You can see that, and this is a lipid bilayer, and this is the lipid bilayer. How do you represent lipid bilayer? This is the hydrophilic head, and there are two tails. Actually, what are these two tails? Two tails are actually the fatty acids, and there is this glycerol here. But the third carbon atom of the glycerol is now connected to a phosphate group. And the phosphate group in turn is connected to a choline group. Choline group has nitrogen, and so there is negative charge and positively charged. So it's a quaternary amine here. Okay. So this whole constitutes, because it has got a lot of polar atoms here, this constitutes a hydrophilic head. And these constitutes, as there is no oxygen atom here, it's a straight chain of carbon and hydrogen. Okay, no alcohol, nothing. Here also, even if it is an unsaturated one, but it is there. There is no oxygen is there. Okay, so in general, in your membrane, you have these fatty acids present in your phospholipid layers. One of the fatty acid is saturated, another is unsaturated. Remember this. Okay. What if both are saturated? Yeah, there are some lipids like that, but see, if it is completely saturated, then the phospholipid layer, it will almost look like this, and there won't be much of space for this. The dynamism of the lipid membrane, bilayer lipid membrane, will be lost. That is the reason we have a unsaturated, so that see, because of that, this kind of a bend only, you do not get the fats to be frozen or make a block. They do not make a block at room temperature. Sorry. So that is the reason it gives dynamism to the membrane lipid layer, bilayer lipid. So one leg straight, one hydrophobic tail straight, and another hydrophobic tail bent. Okay, so now we understand this is a different kind of lipid. Lipid is attached to phosphate. Okay, so then what else we have? We have another kind of lipid we called steroids. We just saw cholesterol. Cholesterol is also kind of a lipid because it is made up of majorly a single carbon, doesn't have oxygen, anything in between. but it has got a ring sort of arrangement. And this kind of an arrangement, usually all steroidal compounds have. Cholesterol, the sterol comes from steroids. Okay, steroids, oid meaning like, sterol likes. Okay, see, the way male and females, we have different appearances. We have because of this particular two sex hormones, that is testosterone and estrogen. And this testosterone estrogen, they have to be formed on the base, their basic way they are made is through a steroidal compound. They are steroidal in nature. They do have this kind of a basic arrangement. Here there are some changes in the double bonds. The side chain has got some changes, nothing else. So that means this is another lipid which is very, very essential, and which is very important for vertebrates. This cholesterol also can be present in the membranes. What do you understand by membranes? When you're talking about lipid bilayer membranes, but we just saw that a lot of proteins can also be transcending the membrane, and they are working stable in the membrane. Now how do they can work? Because if the membrane is very fluid like, okay, like a layer of oil which is floating on water, if it is something like that, then how can a protein stay anchored, So for keeping them anchored, we need some solid patch-like areas of this lipid, made of a lipid. But these areas would be fortified with a lot of cholesterol molecule. Cholesterol molecule can get in here because this space is uneven. Cholesterol molecule can get in here and fit in between and make a very undynamic or very stone or frozen layer of, or frozen mass of lipid. Okay, in that frozen mass of lipid, now as it gets a bit of solidity, you can have the proteins going through and through the membrane here. Okay, so cholesterol is very, very essential in that terms as well. So it can hold a lot of proteins on the membrane. If you do not have proteins on the membrane facing outward, facing inward, then your cellular function is completely diminished. Now, if we go back to the classification part, what do we learn here? Lipids. We have lipids here, and lipids can, fatty acids itself can be a lipid. Okay, if it is fat, it will have a glyceride lipid. Okay, so it can be saturated, unsaturated by the presence of double bond or not. It can be glycerides, meaning the fatty acids can be connected to a glycerol molecule, and so it can be neutral glycerides. We can have phosphoglycerides. We just saw a phosphoglycerides, meaning glycerol connected to or linked to a phosphate molecule also. Neutral glycerides, we just saw that stearic acid is a neutral glyceride. Then we can have non-glycerides, lipids, simple chains of lipids. They are simply not fatty acids also. They are called sphingolipids. Sphingolipids here, sphingoin is another kind of a polyol, okay? Multi-OL group containing alcohol. So if that replaces glycerol in places of glycerides, we can call it sphingolipids. Okay, we have steroids, we have waxes. Waxes, you can have long chain alcohol, very, very long chain alcohol attached to your fatty acids. That makes a wax. Where do you see wax? Your ear wax is a wax, of course. Bee wax is a wax. You normally know wax as the wax which we use in our home is not a fatty acid though. Okay, remember that. They are alkanes, long chain alkanes, which are solidified. Okay, the one we use in our home wax for burning. But these waxes majorly are biological. We can call bee waxes as one of the wax. Ear produces a waxy substance. Okay, so often we can have complex lipids, complex lipids. It can lipoprotein or liposaccharides. So these are complex lipids. So it can conjugate with other macromolecules. That's what the summary of the overall lipid types. Okay. Now coming to one variety of lipid which is relevant socially to us. I know all of you like these foods, okay, very much. Fine, there is no harm in liking. This tastes good. But for making them taste good, what do? They use kind of a they use oil, but this oil is through hydrogenation was tried to make saturated fatty acids, saturated fat they try to make out of it. The process is simple, but not until last 3 decades we got to know that while saturating these fatty acids, we often end up, this is saturated fatty acid. You can see that here. This is the unsaturated one. We all know, right? And so if you put more hydrogen, normally it should become a saturated fatty acid, right? But if you use Vanaspati oil can have, some newly formed unsaturated fatty acids called trans fatty acids. What is this trans? Here, the hydrogen atom, both are facing towards one side here across the double bond. In here, there is again a double bond and the hydrogen atoms facing opposite side. Subtle change in the molecular arrangement, nothing else. But that can cause serious havoc to our health because people have realized that if you have trans fat in your food, that increases bad cholesterol level in our body, and finally which can end up as obstructive blood vessels. Your blood vessels can develop small clogs in between, so that some of your body parts will not receive blood supply properly. And if that body part is your heart muscles, if that body part is your brain, then of course it may lead to death. Okay, so the process is called atherosclerosis. This is a disease actually, and it normally happens to blood vessels. And what can high cholesterol level can cause this? Trans fat can increase high cholesterol, increase bad cholesterol in your body, and that can cause give more chances that we can have atherosclerosis. So don't think you are very young. We have heard recent news that 30 years, 32 years people of that tender age are getting heart attack and they are dying out of heart attacks. So things are not so unusual. Okay, as we are using. So now the many companies are actually being cautious here with baked and this fried products. They are writing the content of trans fat, trans fat present in their ingredients. Also, some companies are smarter enough to declare their food is with zero trans fat. Try to see, if we need to eat pizza, we need to eat burger, we can choose a company which uses least amount of transfer. That's all. So lipid has a lot of things to do. It makes the very membrane which allows all of our cellular activity can be contained inside your body. All the organelles it makes. Also, it has got a negative side to it. Okay, as our food got increasingly contain oily substances, and these new problems started appearing. So yes, that would be all for today's class. If you have any other query, you can ask me.